Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Kativ's AVA Fusion 360. My name is Brian Mongkolpoonsuk. Thank you guys for joining me this morning. I feel like it's been a while since our last Fusion webinar, so I'm glad you guys are still able to attend. I see Bert's here, Peter, Richard. Thank you guys for hopping on this morning. And I hope everyone had a good Easter weekend, finding those eggs and such. Wait another 10 seconds or so for people to come in. But yeah, we do have these Fusion 360 webinars every once a month now on Fridays of each month. And if you haven't seen some of our past videos, they're on our YouTube channel and as well with our other Big Brother webinars on Thursdays, which is on all the other Autodesk products, but these are specifically for Fusion 360. So today we'll be going over how to create custom title blocks in Fusion 360. We've done drawings in the past, about a year and a half ago, I believe. But now we want to focus more on just the title block itself because I've seen they've made some updates to it. So you no longer have to use the default title block that Autodesk gives us or Fusion 360 gives us. We can customize that a little bit and make it more of our own. And the reason being is so that we can start to show more specifically of what the customer is looking for, or something more of what your company as your standards are looking to share. Kind of like if you're trying to show more than what the title block has by default, then you can now. If you're trying to show less, you can as well. And that's typically what we're going over today. Also, we will be and the purpose for that, another purpose for that, I guess, is to save time and increase consistency. Because if you keep editing the title block every time you create a drawing, putting in your company logo and taking out a variable and putting in a new one every time, it's going to add up. Time's going to add up, and you just want to save it as a default template, and we'll also be importing a DWG file type or something native that of AutoCAD into Fusion. So if you have a DWG template existing already, then you can go ahead and import that in, and we'll show you how to do that. Let's go to the next one here. So pretty straight. I just want to go straight into the point for this one. We'll be editing an existing title block. We'll be editing the parts list as well. It's not specifically the title block itself, but I think it's important because there's a little bit of customization there that I want to show you guys, as well as importing an existing DWG file type into the title block, which is the AutoCAD portion. So if you guys have any stories you want to share of your Fusion 360 usage, or any questions at all throughout the webinar, feel free to leave it in the Zoom meeting chat, and I'm more than happy to go over them at the end. So let's go ahead and hop over to Fusion here. And let's go ahead and start creating a title block or a template of for the title block. So we can just go up here to File, New Drawing Template. And we get this little window. You can choose to start from scratch, or you can choose an existing one. I have two existing ones here. And these can be browsed in the Fusion 360 data panel itself. There's also different standards, units, sheet size. And now we are in a drawing template title block editing environment with different tools here. But if you take a look here, we can go ahead and edit the border if we want to. I'm not going to do anything to this, just show you that there's the ability to delete, and there's this whole tool environment here with Not as many sketching tools as you would typically see in the modeling environment, but you get some basic ones that you can use to alter the block here. And then if we double click on the title block itself, typically from the last time I really dug into the drawing environment, you would get this larger window that had the project, the title, the approved by, all these categories in that window. However, now we just get this little window, but everything can be edited on the title block itself, not on the window. And this is where the customization comes in. You can move around where these will be displayed and things like that. So these blue ones are represented by what's called an attribute. An attribute, let's see, it doesn't show yet, but once I edit the title block, it will. Attributes are things that are either referencing a feature or a property that's from the Fusion 360 model itself, or it's something like, and those would be represented by these carets here, where it'd be referencing like the project name, for example. Or if it doesn't have the carets next to it, then it will be something that the user, when they create the drawing, see like, oh, I can edit this under title here, or for title _2 here, I can edit and put in my own name. It's prompting me to put in my own name or my own numbers rather than automatically putting it in yourself. So let's go ahead and dig into this by editing. Once I hit that, it's telling me, do you want to add a new title block? Because this is the default one that Fusion comes with, and we aren't changing that, which is probably a good idea that we don't change the existing title block inside of Fusion. So we'll go ahead and add a new title block. And now this little window pops up with source, origin block, and name. With source, you get the option to edit the existing title block. Well, we're creating essentially a copy of this and then editing that. We can create one from scratch. So you can imagine highlighting everything and deleting it. And we can create or import a DWG file, or like an AutoCAD drawing file, for example, into this to replace this. So we'll be doing the first one and the last one. This is similar. This one's similar to the first one there. And then, of course, we'll give it a name. Fusion AVA. And okay, so now that I hit okay, it gives me grids. And now we get the tools again for sketching and modifying the title block. So now we can go in and start making changes to this. So first, I want to share with you the attribute, or this blue text. So with this blue text, if you select it, I'm going to place it somewhere here. If it's one of these from drawn by all the way down to title 1 here, if it's one of these attributes, these will be represented by those carets like we saw earlier, and they'll be referencing an existing property that comes from your part. And just another or a side thing here, the only way you can create drawings in Fusion is with a component or assembly. So you can't create it from body. So that's how it can reference a component. It has, because your component has a name, it's not just like body 1, for example. It has an actual name, it has a project that it's under, and things like that. So we can go ahead and leave drawn by, for example. So it'll be referencing who it was made by. In this case, it would be me. So it would put in my name automatically to replace this when we create it. You can adjust the height, justification. Now that I have it in there, I can move this attribute around like the other ones as well. I've seen some of these be put in the corner, so I'll go ahead and do that as well. We have this little rotate tool, the move tools. You can click on that too, so we can select to transform or move it. Now I put it in the corner there. So now when we use this template and we actually insert a view in here, my name would appear there, or the drawer's, the person who created this name. All right. Another thing is, if you, for example, don't use code or this code in particular inside a title block, you can get rid of it by just selecting on them and deleting it. And if you want to maybe move these two sides, this black one is the word that will always be there. This would change according to the user's or no, this one's actually what's it called? An attribute that's referencing the size of the model, I believe, or the scale. The scale is right there. Let's take a look here. You can just check. So the paper size, that's what that one's referring to. So that would be automatically populated. So if you want to move this over to the right here to maybe free up more room for the approved and checked, approved by and approved date attributes here, we can go ahead and do that as well. So first I'm gonna draw a little reference line here. And then I'm going to just click on this gray box here to move my size over. I'm using that line to kind of reference the center of size. I can get rid of that. Then I'll move this one over as well. And I like to hit escape a lot when I work. In the drawing environment, it's best practice to hit enter, because escape actually cancels the tool or the action you just did. Now I can trim this up a little bit, extend that line out a little bit, enter, and perhaps move these guys over. Something like that. Now, of course, even though these overlap, and I've when I created this, if you guys seen my last name or my name, it's kind of long, so it actually doesn't overlap with the drawn date. It actually kind of compresses itself together, which is really nice. So we don't technically need this extra room, but I think it's just for this example. I wanted to show, like, maybe we can give the name more breathing room, or just to show how you want to customize your title block just in general here. All right, so next thing you don't want to keep repeating when you're creating drawings is the company logo. So we'll go to insert image, nothing out of the ordinary there. I'm going to scale it down using some of the snaps that's going on. So it's seemed to be snapping right there for me. And it's tempting to hit finish edit, but if you hit that, you get kicked out of the title block editing. So you just need to double click and then go back in there. Then if I want to move this over, of course, the snaps help a lot. Give this a little bit of a border, make it look nice. Enter. Some more trimming. Enter, and we're almost done here with the title block. So we cut off some of it here so it can fit the image a little bit cleaner, and maybe to give just a tad bit more room for the drawing itself, change some and remove one of the categories down below here. One more thing I like to add is the geometry. These are essentially, we didn't have this before, where we can actually have lines and things like that in our drawings. So I find this useful for when I create isometric drawings of my model, or like a sideways rotated view. I like to put that in the corner of them. So if I go ahead and put a box here, this will show in our drawing. And for a parts list, I mentioned I was going to show how to bring in a parts list. If that's even here anymore, it's definitely in here somewhere. Let me just back out there. There it is. So if we bring in a parts list, oops, and we start customizing it and things like that, I didn't find it to change, unfortunately, when I so you can leave something like this, But when you want to create a parts list from, or let's say I use this drawing template, it doesn't automatically populate that parts list for me or with the customizations. So at least from what I've tested, maybe I just tested it wrong, but I would recommend maybe creating the parts list when you create the model. But these are safe to say that these are saved every time, or these are fresh every time for you to use. So we'll go ahead and stick with this for now, this template that we have here. And the next thing we just need to do is save it. And that should have been the first step. It's a good habit to save. If you see here at the top of the tab here, there we have this symbol with it's a template symbol with that little T in the corner, and it has this little asterisk, meaning we haven't saved it yet. So if we go here and hit save, we can name it something. Fusion AVA template. It's going to save in our webinar 40 folder in our Fusion Fridays project. Now, if you take a look at that here in the data panel, I have two other ones here, but this is the one that we just saved at 1017, which allows us to, or which we can see that it's a template signified by that symbol there. And now we can reference it when we create a new drawing. So let's go ahead and do that. So I have this phone stand that I created that I want to create a drawing for. So by going to whether I want to right click this and hit create drawing or go from a different angle, I can choose the template that I want to use. And this is searching in the project itself. So there it is right there. Raise these out because we already have custom sizes for this and units and standards. And now we can bring this in. We can give it the isometric view that I like. Top, side, change this to solid so you don't just see through the whole thing, something like that. So just notice that, yeah, the templates here, everything that we were just editing. If we want to, my name's appearing here just as promised. My name's scrunched up here a little bit more, but it's fine. We can change, double click on it. Now it gives us these light blue ones that we can change. So drawing number, revision 1. The weight, I like to show people that, hey, if you go here to the properties of your model, it can give you the weight there. This is in ounces. This is a little fun fact I found out. So if you want to look at this in pounds, you just need to go to your document settings and change it from inches to feet. So it's very interesting there. So if it's at foot now, we can go to properties, and now it's pounds. So 2.083 pound mass. And pound mass might be a little confusing. It's essentially pounds, but on Earth, I think I've read around, or I've heard before of how they wanted to represent that. But I essentially just call it pounds. So I'm just going to put 2 point, maybe it was 8 or something, 0.08 pounds. So unfortunately, not something we can reference, but something that you can find by just going right-clicking and hitting properties there, and you can fill out this information as well. And then, of course, you can bring in the parts list. And I wanted to show you how you can edit this. So essentially, if you double-click on it, you don't have a description or anything from that. You can get rid of that if you want. You can move the order in which some of these appear. And if you want this to essentially be the same size as your title block there, or your title block at the bottom there, you can click on it once. Now it gives you these gray boxes you can move around. And you can change the size of the columns with these boxes as well. So maybe we'll give our part number more space here. So something along the lines of that. Again, it could be something that's customized in the template itself, but I couldn't, that wasn't the case when I played around with it, but I know you can do it here and then just do it really quickly and just customize it to fit your drawing as well, so in case you have more dimensions and angles you want to show. All right. And one more thing we want to go over, which is the importing a AutoCAD, a DWG file. Let's go ahead and create a new drawing template here. And we can double click on that. Edit title block, add title block, and then from DWG file, we can browse to it. Just keep in mind these DWG files shouldn't have any blocks or XREFs for it. Then Fusion doesn't really like it, or it doesn't allow you to essentially bring it in. And we can import something like this one. And I don't have one that's exactly the same scale as the A, B, C, or D, or E size. And I can show you how you can edit that really quick. But I also did this on purpose, of course, because I wanted to show you how you can change your sheet size in the middle of your drawing. So you can maybe go to something along the lines of the E size drawing. That's more, maybe that makes more sense for this size of a template. You can move this, and this was created in AutoCAD, this template that I have in here. Move that over there. It's still overflowing, so we can double click on this to edit the title block. Maybe get rid of some of these lines since they're overflowing. Fortunately, there's no scale tool inside of this environment here, so you have to scale it back in AutoCAD and get rid of that as well. Just want to keep this pretty part of the template. Move this over just a bit. And it also came in with these 2 attributes or 3 attributes. So I'll go ahead and move those. All right. So this was our title block, just real quickly created with an import from the AutoCAD. And yeah, if you had an A, B, C, D, E size that fit perfectly, this one I had to edit a little bit, obviously there, then you wouldn't have to do as much editing, but that wasn't too bad. You can also add, you know, the attributes text like we saw in the previous example for this. All right. So there's my contact information in case you guys wanted to reach out to me. Today we went over pretty much editing the title block, how you can play around with attributes, customize it so you don't have to keep doing this over and over every time you create a drawing. Just use templates, save it once and never have to worry about it again. Now I'm going to take a look at any questions you guys may have. For this webinar, or if you have any future recommendations for future ones, we are more than happy to think about anything you guys send us, and we want to see what you guys are interested about, see what you guys are up to when working in Fusion 360. I know it's changed a lot over the years, and I think now it's one Fusion as opposed to a Fusion 360 and a Fusion 360 Ultimate. If you guys have any questions of like how that works in the collection, the product design and manufacturing collection, how does that work for maybe a network license, so you could share among your team or even Fusion team, just let me know. And yeah, feel free to write down the number. The number you can just ask for Brian. That's our central Conceive number. But that email, you can just send it straight to me. I check my email every day, of course, and during work hours, like every 30 minutes or so. So I'll be pretty responsive to that. So if you guys have any questions at all, I think that'll be a good resource to help answer those. All right, cool. Thanks, Peter, for the comments there. Not necessarily a question, but it's a comment. So thank you for that. And yeah, I hope these are helpful for you guys. I'll give it another like 20 seconds or so for questions. But yeah, customizing title blocks in Fusion, it's getting better and better, thankfully. So we can actually create our own sketches and things now. And I'll be thinking about the next topic for next month will be Alex, of course, who switches off with me. But I'll be thinking about the next topic after that. So yeah, if you guys send me an email and just suggest a topic, it's more than likely gonna happen, or it could happen. There you go, it could happen. So I don't see any other questions coming in. So thank you guys for joining us. We'll see you guys next month. Have a good one.